I remember the day I enlisted in the Athenian army like it was yesterday. It was 431 BCE, and tensions between Athens and Sparta had been mounting for years. As a young man, I had always dreamed of fighting for my city and defending its honor. I was assigned to a unit of hoplites, the elite infantry of the Athenian army. We were trained to fight in tight formation, wearing heavy armor and carrying long spears. Our commanders were confident that our discipline and skill would be enough to defeat the Spartans, who were known for their fearsome warriors. The war began with a series of skirmishes along the border between Athens and Sparta. We would march out to meet the enemy, engage in a fierce battle, and then retreat back to our fortifications. It was a grueling and bloody business, with casualties on both sides. But as the war dragged on, things began to change. The Spartans were not easy opponents, and they had a few tricks up their sleeves. They would often use their superior cavalry to outflank us, attacking our troops from the sides and rear. We struggled to adapt to these tactics, and our losses mounted. One of the worst battles I remember was the Battle of Amphipolis. We had been sent to retake the city from the Spartans, who had captured it earlier in the war. We fought bravely, but the Spartans had fortified their position and were determined to hold it. They launched a series of fierce counterattacks, and we were unable to break through their lines. We suffered heavy casualties, and I remember the sound of the wounded crying out for help as we retreated back to our camp. Despite our setbacks, we continued to fight on. The Spartans, on the other hand, were fighting for their own brand of tyranny, where the ruling class held all the power. As the years passed, the war became more and more brutal. Both sides committed atrocities, and the once rich countryside was laid waste by the constant fighting. I remember the stench of death and decay, the sound of screams, and the clash of steel on steel. It was a time of unspeakable horror, and I often wondered how it would ever end. In 400 for BCE, the Spartans launched a final assault on Athens, and we were unable to hold them back. Our city was sacked, and many of our people were killed or sold into slavery. I was one of the lucky ones, managing to escape with my life. Looking back, I realized that the Peloponnesian War was a defining moment in our city's history. It showed us the worst of humanity, but also the best. We fought for our freedom, our democracy, and our way of life. And even though we lost, we never lost our spirit. We rebuilt our city, and we continued to fight for what we believed in. The war may have ended, but the struggle for freedom and democracy goes on forever.